our Morning Throners podcast.
I'm Nelson.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Glow.
And I'm Kyle.
And we're the fucking Morning Throners.
All right, welcome back to another episode of your favorite Song of Ice Fire podcast. We're the Morning Throners. We got Arya 6 on deck, baby.
Last time on Arya, she and the crew were all sneaking around after the carnage that happened at the random town. I forget what it was called. Arya was hanging out with Gendry, Lamy, Hot Pie, and Weasel. Lamy had a little bit of a hitch to his step because he got stabbed. But they're making their way through their woods and they come upon another town. And in this town, they're wary. Arya's like, let me go check it out. And she goes, checks it out, and is like, all right, there's people here. I don't really know what's going on. So she grabs Gendry. They go. She's sneaking through the trees, and she tells Gendry before they split apart, say, yo, be fucking quiet. Of course, Gendry's not quiet. He gets caught. So she has to go back. She grabs Hot Pie. Then they go. They get captured. Hot Pie's like, oh, we have two friends. They go to grab Weasel and Lamy. But Weasel weaseled out of there like a fucking smart 3-year-old. And Lamy's like, dude, like, I can barely walk. Can you carry me? And he's like, yeah, I'm not carrying you. And whoever it is stabbed Lamy right in the throat, dead. Was it with needle?
No, spear.
In the show, it's with Needle. Good recap, Glow. It was Raph the Sweetling who killed Lamy. We didn't know any names at the end of the last chapter, but Arya talks about how she's learning about these people through this chapter. So he got the kill on the frag count. Raph the Sweetling did.
I forgot that she was in jail. Because like you said, it had been a while.
I think it's been like about 2 months almost since we've hit a Arya chapter, I think.
Yeah. I remember Gendry getting caught. I forgot that she was like actually captive because like it starts off and she's like explaining all this stuff. And I was like, oh, is she hiding in the jail? Like, and then like she's like, there's nowhere to hide in here or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, that's right. She did. She got
forgot that too.
Because they were under the dead
forgot
bodies.
that.
Well, the chapter starts off with her talking about the fear and how she's just terrified.
Yeah, she was terrified, but I thought she was terrified like while spying in behind enemy lines.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know, so like, but then I remembered that her and Hot Pie, you know, got yanked at the end.
All right, Kyle, what'd you think of this one overall?
It's the whole ending up with Tywin's kind of an interesting twist. I don't know. I guess so, and I need to start kind of, I think, taking this into account when I do my predictions, even of like, where do we have nobody? Because now we'll have a viewpoint from Harrenhal, right?
I will say I think not last chapter, but after the chapter where Yoren, when she like basically got out of the tunnel and we're like, what do you think's gonna happen? You're like, I think she's gonna probably get captured again and end up at Harrenhal, which it took a couple chapters to happen, but basically you were right with that prediction. Yeah.
Holy shit.
And you might have been thinking along those same lines at the time. You're like, we need somebody at Harrenhal. They just keep talking about it.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of what you were saying. But yeah, so you were definitely right on that prediction that's where Arya ended up.
Surprised myself. Yeah. I forgot.
I think you might have backtracked on it after the last chapter when she had gotten captured.
I might have. Whatever.
But you were definitely right there for a chapter or two.
So it was all right though. Kind of gave into the brutality of what she's seeing and what's happening here. And then, like I said, then her life changes yet again. Her life has been kind of morphing here pretty quickly the past few times we've read about her, you know?
She had a pretty exciting storyline so far. More so than, stuff's been going on for him, but Tyrion's been like all
this is like
on the move.
The Trail of Tears of like to the Lannister army. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that, and like, so she was at, you know, in Winterfell, things were great. And she gets sent to King's Landing, not too pumped. Gets this fighting training pretty cool. And she's an orphan in the fucking Flea Bottom. And then she's in the Night's Watch heading north. It's like, she's been all over the place.
Does she have the most miles tracked? Possibly.
Tyrion's probably got her beat. He went the whole way to the Vale
did
and back.
Go to the wall and back.
Daenerys might be the longest.
And to the Vale. And
Daenerys is probably up there. Because
Tyrion,
depending on where he was, that technically at the beginning of the book, he's probably around King's Landing or Castle Rock, goes to Winterfell, from Winterfell to
the wall,
the whole way back down, then to the Eyrie. So Tyrion's gone all over. But yeah, things over the course of this chapter, things are not improving for Arya though.
No, yeah, there was no resolution, no, you know.
Yeah, Kyle was kind of saying that her arc has kind of been from over the course of the 2 books from like good to worse, and it continues to get worse throughout this chapter. Maybe the worst so far.
To one point, like maybe because she's like working way towards the end, she's working for somebody and not like, maybe they're not going to be interrogated like they were. maybe.
But it sounds
That's
like
a
Yeah,
silver
short
lining.
improvement from mid to end of chapter, probably.
maybe
From,
like fear
literally
of
being-
death.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it sounds like she gave herself a shittier job than she was gonna get as well.
And
regardless-
being the cooks, like the
They're basically
kitchens eating
slaves,
food.
right? They're slaves.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Like they're gonna call them
Prisoners of
servants,
war,
but they're
or
slaves.
prisoners of war.
yeah.
They're slaves.
Or
They're gonna call them
indentured
servants, but
servants.
they're
Which
slaves.
we'll get up
They're
into.
slaves.
I
They can't
think
leave.
we'll get more into the fucked up part of this as we go.
Yeah.
But all right, so she comes out and she's marching. They've been marching for a while. We find out why, but her feet are really calloused. She's got calloused hands too, or her feet are blistered. Her hands are calloused
Yeah, her
because
hands
she's
are
been
calloused
trying to
from
practice.
Yeah.
But now her feet are just fucked up from just walking, and people are dying every day.
Yeah, they don't talk about how long the walk is, but the walk to Harrenhal is like decently long. She says it's even like from the time they can see the walls, it's like 3 more days till they get there.
Mhm.
But I think you're right. The chapter starts with her walking, but doesn't it, like for a few pages, it goes back to her reflecting on the 8 days
Correct.
she had to spend in the
Yeah,
storehouse,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
So
what the
we just kind of
titular-
figure out like what the mountains and their men are doing each day, while I guess they were staying put.
Sounds like they're staying put. And they're in the same town that where Arya was captured. Sounds like they're doing pretty much the same thing every day. But over the course of this time, Arya is learning a little bit about all of them. Like before, they were all just helmeted people, but now there's like names for faces. Basically, what would happen every day? Sir Gregor would come in, pick a prisoner, and they would be questioned all day. And that's how Arya puts it. It's obviously just like torture. The way they do it in the show, I don't think it's a spoiler. I think it's sick. I've never seen this before. Kyle probably heard of it. They just put a rat in a bucket.
Dude, you definitely have seen it. What do you mean? You never saw Too Fast, Too Furious?
I never seen this in anything.
I don't think I've ever seen
Is
Too
that
Fast, Too Furious.
Oh
They
my
just
god,
put a
I've
rat in
seen
a
that.
bucket and then like
That's till
strap
the
it to
end.
the guy's chest,
Eat
and then they
three.
heat it up. They heat it up.
You heat it
the
up.
bucket
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's no way to go but through your stomach.
There's no way to go.
I mean, I saw it on Too Fast, Too Furious, so like it didn't
Is that it?
surprise
I've definitely
me.
seen
How
Too
is
Fast
that a
and Furious.
plot
I don't
point
remember it.
the Fast and the Furious
I don't know.
I'll just say it really quickly. All right, do you guys know the like dirtbag in Batman Begins, like the dirty cop with like the fat guy with greasy kind of curly hair?
Yeah, who he hangs up and he like hangs him up from
Yeah.
upside down.
Yep. So
Swear to me.
he's basically a dirty cop in Too Fast, Too Furious, working for. Do you guys watch Yellowstone?
I don't think so. You're
Rip
dumping
is
way too
Cole
many
I
Franchise
Hauser.
mean,
now.
So
quite the
Cole Hauser is the like mob guy, and this dirty cop, he needs a bigger window for this job that they're about to do, and the cop's like, "No, I can't do it again," and he's like, "You're gonna fucking do it again." Puts the rat bucket, flame torch on his stomach, like, "Are you gonna do this window yet?" And like, there's nowhere to go but through you.
But
like,
he says,
this rat's
yeah,
gonna
he
get
just
out.
like admits to, he like
He's like, "All right, I'll do
he
it. I'll
folds.
do it. I'll do
Yeah.
it. I'll do it."
In Game
Yeah.
of Thrones, they don't show, but they like cut to the guy's face or whatever as the rat is actually eating through this guy's body. Apparently, that's what the tickler's doing. But again, like all this is like we're getting into areas where it gets really different from the books. I think that tickling happens actually at Harrenhal.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Yeah,
the tickling.
tickling.
Stop tickling me.
We do get a bunch of Lannister guard dames going through.
Yeah, so I'm saying the tickling because the guy who's
know,
in
he's the
charge of
tickler.
the torture every day is
Yeah.
the tickler, right?
One
know,
thing
I
I
know.
thought they're just showing no allegiance to any prisoner, I guess. Like, one girl shared a soldier's bed 3 nights running. The mountain picked her on the 4th day, and the soldier said nothing. A smiley old man mended their clothing and babbled about his son, off serving in the gold cloaks at King's Landing. "A king's man he is," he would say. "A good king's man like me. All for Joffrey." He said it so often the other captives began to call him All for Joffrey whenever the guards weren't listening. All for Joffrey was picked on the 5th day. A young mother with a pock-scarred face offered to freely tell them all she knew if they'd promise not to hurt her daughter. The mountain heard her out. The next morning he picked her daughter to be certain she held nothing back.
Yeah. So I'm gonna point out Arya's 10. So she talks about these 3. There's 8 total people that this happens to, right? Arya has to witness this. She's a 10-year-old. Also, All for Joffrey, I think, is fucking
A
hilarious.
funny name.
I know that it's implied that they're all killed to some degree, but at the same time, I don't know that all these people were killed.
They were. At one point,
I
she
think
says
it's just
even the
inferred
strongest.
They
like
get hung
they were
out,
picked.
like outside the camp.
She says
for
at
wolves
one
to
point
eat.
the strongest only made it till evenfall, and then their corpses were tied up for the
Yeah.
wolves. Like that's
She
that's
mentions it a
quote
couple
from somewhere.
times, and she was like, "In every day she had seen someone die." So,
Yeah.
but that was the march.
But
So
it
someone
seems so
died on the
dumb
march.
to
No,
me.
that's the 8 days in the storehouse. Every day she had
Oh
seen someone
yeah.
die.
8 days she
in the
had lingered there
storehouse.
before.
Like, why
the
would you
mount. Yep.
kill all of your slaves? Like, that's what doesn't make sense to me, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
How
they
many
just don't
people
give
are
a
here?
fuck.
They probably have plenty of slaves too, though.
This is not in the books at all, but that when they're doing this at Harrenhal, like Tywin walks by and that's what he says. He's like, "What the fuck are we doing? We need these people. We don't have enough people to man this huge castle. Stop killing these people." So like, great point by Kyle. I think if anything, it's to point out that like the Mountain and these guys just don't.
Or they're
fuck.
ruthless and
So ruthless. Yeah, they just and like. She seems like they enjoy it. Like there's like enjoying the sport, and at one point they're getting conflicting answers. Right, we're jumping ahead a little bit. Like the conflicting answers are just all over the place, and Arya even says like it doesn't seem like they even cared about the answers. They just wanted to kill people.
Yeah, I mean, and the way they like laid out the questions too, like I can see them just like continuously asking and like not even listening for the answer. Like, yeah, we're just doing this just to make it look like we're trying to figure out. Like we know you don't know shit, and which is weird. Like. They might not have done anything wrong. Like these people might have just been. You know,
that's not what they're out here
that's
for.
That's what they're saying too. Like, the people in the prison are like, dude, we didn't do anything. We didn't help them.
Well, that's all for Joffrey. That dude is completely saying. I mean, he's at least saying that he's on his side 100%.
And who knows if he's lying, but he's saying his son is serving in the gold cloaks in King's Landing.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah, exactly. It's not about punishing these people. It's about just wiping the entire region.
Yeah. And so some of she mentions a few of the other people. Chiswick, I think that's the person that she bit. Like in the last chapter, when she gets found,
mailed her right in the face.
Yeah, she bit somebody, but they were wearing chainmail, so it didn't do anything. And then he punched her in the face. Yeah,
it's like punching someone with a face mask on. Just stupid.
Glow. What are the questions they're hammering these prisoners with?
Was there gold hidden in the village? Silver, gems? Was there more food? Where was Lord Beric Dondarrion? Which of the village folk had aided him? When he rode off, where did he go? How many men were with them? How many knights? How many bowmen? How many men at arms? How were they armed? How many were horsed? How many were wounded? What other enemy had they seen? How many? When? What banners did they fly? Where did they go? Was there gold hidden in the village? Silver, gems?
Yep. So they're just like, even to Jeff's point, where like they just probably rattling through these. Even when Arya rattles through them, she just like kind of like repeats without like showing where the end is. Because she says like the last 5 questions are the same as the first 5.
Well, I think that's kind of what she's saying though, is that it's like ad nauseum. It's just only these questions. This is all they've been asking. They did seem interested in some of the stuff they found, but they didn't. Not enough that they would spare anybody, I guess.
Yeah, they did find a little bit of money and stuff. Yeah.
Copper.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the next paragraph, they say, no one ever survived the tickler's questioning. No man, no woman, no child. The strongest lasted past evenfall.
Yeah, no, I guess what I was getting at here, though, with that was like, so the mom that was saying, promise not to hurt my daughter, and then the next day picked the daughter to be certain she'd held nothing back. But that doesn't make sense in like if
maybe they killed them both that day. They just said, fuck it.
Oh, gotcha.
It's definitely a flaw in the. She didn't die the same day she was tested.
I didn't take that she was necessarily one of the ones that was being questioned. She was like, when the mountain comes, I pictured more like when the mountain came in that day. She was like, "I'll tell you everything I know as long as you don't pick my daughter." And he's like, "All right, tell me everything you know." And she does.
I got you.
And then he's like,
and then the next day, I got you.
All right, let me make sure there's no other coppers hidden somewhere.
Yeah, type thing. Yeah, but you might be right. Who knows?
So I think we jump back to her marching, unless there's more to be talked.
Well, no. About. So I mean, that's what goes. This is where it gets into what Nelson was talking about before, where like all the answers contradict each other. You know, like he's good. He's dying almost. He's got tons of people. He's got nobody.
10 people, 100 people.
Going north, or going west, or going east, or going south.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's strong as an Uruk. He's weak from a flux.
Just saw the rumor mill of of the Riverlands.
At some point, Arya has a little internal to herself, like, I'm not a real water dancer.
That's
like,
now.
Well, yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, she's pissed. Like, she's just so mad at herself.
Yeah, she's back walking. Would have never let this happen. They took my fucking sword. I watched my friend get murdered.
Exactly.
Without doing anything. You know, she's sitting quietly here, just waiting for them to come and question her. Like,
just watching people die left and right.
Her sister's a wolf, and she does not feel like a wolf. She said she feels more like a lamb or like a sheep, and a herd of sheep right now with all these captives.
She hated the villagers for their sheepishness, but she was sheep
almost
too.
As much as herself.
Also, I wonder how many there are.
Yeah, that was what I was wondering too.
Because they kill 8. I'm assuming there has to be like about 30 to begin with. I'm assuming they have to be about 20 after you kill 8. Because even once they get to Harrenhal, they were going to send her to the kitchens. They didn't, so assume they send somebody else in her place. And they still sent 6 people to Weiss. So it means there's at least 7.
I'm sure they sent more people to the kitchens too.
Yeah, so then you have
say
12.
There's like 5 people that were sent. Yeah, I mean at least there's how many people are like
Exactly. That's what I'm
carrying
saying. You
shit.
probably have
Like,
about 20 total, is what I'm
yeah,
guessing.
I would say so.
Oh, easily. I think, yeah, probably
If not
more
more.
than that, maybe.
If not more. Because you
If
have a
30,
whole,
40
potentially
people.
a whole village,
Yeah.
except for the ones that the mountain killed.
Yeah, I mean these.
And then, so they must have been kind of playing along that they were part of this village, right? Like none of the villagers called them out. Like,
Well, if they would have got questioned, it might have came out differently that like, hey, they weren't here. But I'm not sure.
yeah, like
I
I
don't know
mean,
if they would have cared though.
Yeah.
No, well, the part
they
of them
might have
not
cared
caring
because
is
like who she is, who Gendry is. Like these
Yeah.
people are being looked for.
Well, I got 2 points to that. Well, one, like they find out she's a girl, right? And no one gave a fuck about that. Like the mountain glossed that over. 2, Gendry said he was the one that made the bull helmet, and
That's why
nobody
he
gave a
kept
fuck
him
about
alive.
that.
So time out. That's
Well,
not
so
a
the gold
book plot.
cloaks were looking for Gendry,
That is a
not
book
the
plot.
Lannisters.
These
Is
are
it
both book plots, yep.
the bull's held helmet's a book plot?
Yep. Yeah,
Okay,
he said they kept him alive because he's a blacksmith, and they're too valuable to kill, even an apprentice.
No, what I'm saying is the fact that like I think in the show they're like Cersei's like go after this guy. He has a bull's head helmet.
I swear the
I don't know
gold
if
cloak
no,
said
the
that
gold
here
cloaks
too.
knew that, and I don't know if the gold cloaks knew that because Gendry's wearing it when they show up at the end. I'm pretty sure, and I
Yeah.
brought that up. I think so. That's why I think it's only a show plot.
Okay,
So the
That's-
bull's
that,
head helmet
that,
did not
that was like a
matter.
big thing. I was like, wait, whoa! Like half the reason the fucking their army's out is looking for this bullhead helmet, and now this guy's just rocking it.
Yeah. What they might know
The
though
gold
is
cloaks were looking though, not the
the gold
Lannisters.
cloaks. The gold cloaks knew there was a bastard with the Night's Watch. So if like maybe that news made it this far, and if they would have found out that these guys were with the Night's Watch people, that might have been bad. That might have been basically the show equivalent of them finding out of the Bull's Head helmet.
Yeah, but I don't think
Right.
Tywin cared about that at all. Like, does he listen to Cersei at all? It sounds like.
If Cersei tells him the importance of it, I think he might care, right? Like if Cersei's like, "Hey, we need this boy," no, but if she's like, "Hey, there's this boy. Here's why he's important," then Tywin might be like, "Oh,
would
you know what?
Cersei
Yeah,
admit
that's a good
that
idea."
to
In a
her own
letter, I don't
father?
know.
I think it was known.
In a letter
I mean,
and to her father.
it had to be known. No, I mean he was fucking horned around. Like
Nah,
Tywin
yeah.
definitely.
Tywin
knew.
had to know that Robert had bastards for sure.
He knows that his son and daughter banged too, right?
He
It's
probably got a
not
letter
known.
from Stannis about it if he didn't know.
No, I thought him and Tyrion had this discussion.
Tywin? I don't know. I don't think so.
I thought so. I thought they had like a
think so.
discussion that was like heavily tainted with like, you know,
Well, I
know
think
what your brother
I
and
think
sister
Tywin
are
was
doing.
like these filthy rumors about our family, more or less, and
I don't even know.
I feel like before Tywin sent him off, he was like,
Tyrion might
need
have said
to-
something
"We
snide,
need to get
but
control of
I
this."
don't know.
Regardless, Stannis sent that letter, so he
Yeah.
should know now. Or anyway,
Because it did get sent to Harrenhal, right?
it got sent everywhere. If it
Even
didn't
if
get
it
sent to
didn't,
Harrenhal,
yeah.
yeah. So
Well, I think a big thing is like she's a girl. Like she couldn't hide that she was a girl anymore. Like Hot Pie found out, which
Yeah,
doesn't
only
become
Hot
a
Pie
big
cared.
thing.
he was the only person.
But that's a
that really
big.
cared.
It's a big fucking thing because it becomes like
Gendry found out in the last chapter. To be fair, so it wasn't a surprise for Gendry. All these
yeah.
other people, they're just like
they
who
probably
gives
didn't give a fuck. But
Well, they didn't know
all
who
right,
she
so,
was.
but
so
now
they
she
didn't care,
changes her identity again as she gets to Harrenhal, which is she just has to keep
Yeah.
changing. You know,
Also, it's kind of just sus. Like Hot Pie would be like, "Why would you?" You know what I mean? But she could just be like, "It's safer to be."
I mean, so she didn't get like raped.
yeah, so I
mean,
don't get raped and stuff.
Doesn't
Yeah.
make
Kyle, what were you saying?
it's not too hard.
I was going to say that I think the bigger point here, though, is that this is where Arya has, like, at least admitted to herself. I'm sure she probably already did this before, but where she's lost all hope. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, this is her, like, kind of the bottom breaking point. Like she said, and
Exactly.
it's the fucking Lannisters that took everything from me.
Yeah, that's how she gets to them. Like, find out she's a girl. Like, they took my dad. They took my friends, my
Courage,
home,
hope.
my hope, my courage, and now even my secret that I had. My one secret that I was not a girl. Yeah.
They're
so
not
she
allowed
says
to
in the-
talk on this march.
Yeah, you're right. I was just gonna say she was. It doesn't really matter. The storehouse was big enough that she was actually somehow able to still hide that she was a girl, which again makes me think
Pissing
that
in the
they
corner.
couldn't have too many people because she's able to piss in the corner and hide from. I guess at least Hot Pie though. Hot Pie's the only
Wouldn't that
person
be
that
more people to blend in, to hide behind? Because they said there was nowhere to hide in the place.
she said there was. She said the storehouse was big enough that I could sneak off into a corner.
But there was
Which
somewhere
to me
else
meant
where
there
she
wasn't
said,
enough people.
Yeah,
But
There
yeah,
was
on the
nowhere
road,
to
she had
you
to use
couldn't
a bush.
hide when they were looking when
On the
Tickler
road,
was looking for
she had to use a
somebody.
bush because she's a prisoner. They're not going to let her like run off
well,
half
yeah,
a mile
No.
to the woods to take a piss.
No, but the village folk would never look at him maybe they thought that if they did not notice him, he would not notice them, but he saw them anyway and picked whom he liked. There was no place to hide, no tricks to play, nowhere to be safe. That was the tickler. So
that's the mountain pixel, I think. But yeah, there's basically a giant warehouse.
Yeah. All right. So not allowed to talk on this march. She brings up the point of like, there's just no point in being brave. Like
she learned that the hard way. She got a broken lip.
She got fucked up in the face.
Talking shit.
One
girl,
boy didn't learn though.
Well, a girl too, right?
Well, there was one boy
got smash face.
Yeah, kept crying.
It was a boy that
his
was
face
crying,
smashed.
and then his mom started wailing
when he died, and she died.
Well, he got a morning star to the face though. Like, yo, that's brutal.
I know, these are super brutal. Do these make frag counts?
Like
is this like live?
We don't know who killed him though.
It's like Arya's talking about it past tense, so it doesn't seem like it's in the chapter. You know what I mean? But this is very borderline. Kyle,
you don't even know who killed him?
Yeah,
Sweetling.
No, it just says
maybe like one killed. Okay.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
All right, give Raph another one, but he's not getting the 3-year-old boy though.
He already has the Lamy, so that would like Raph's moving up quick here. This random mountains man.
Yeah, I mean they smashed in his face, and then Raph killed the other one as well. So I don't know that it guarantees that he killed the kid.
And it's past tense. I don't even know if it counts because it's not in the chapter.
I think we said no to that.
Yeah,
I think we said no to that.
I agree to it.
On this march, it's mostly women and children, and the men are either very young or very old.
Yeah, they killed, it seems like, all the able-bodied people, the bodies that Arya was crawling under. I'm guessing that's who they were. All the able-bodied people of the village.
Gendry was saved because we said earlier he was a blacksmith.
Yeah, had some skills.
Good on you.
There was a lady that was kind of like Miri what's her name? Miri Mazdur, where she was trying to be brave, but she died screaming like everybody else.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Like nobody was brave anymore. Everybody had everything taken from them, essentially.
She's like, there's no point to be brave. This is kind of what Arya's, the result Arya's got to now, which is like kind of rough. Like, I don't know. Group mentality. What if everybody's brave at the same time? Can they overthrow this?
No. They have no weapons. They're
the mountain is just a mountain by himself. You know what I mean? Like, how many men would you have to have? And they don't have any men. They only have women, children, and boys and old men.
Kill the mountain.
You need like unarmored men against an armored mountain.
Did it at night, like snuck into his tent or something.
Wait till they're really drunk.
How do you break out of it without having
you sneak?
To wake
you
got
to make a shank, give it to that hot girl that's getting taken off every night. Wait till the mountain picks her, and then she'll do the job. You need to be sneaky like that, which is kind of what happens, right?
With whom?
She hits him with a rock, but before that,
so we find out that the village had also been raided or at least visited by Beric.
Yes. We get some opinions on people.
Yeah,
from the people that we don't even know who they are. But
they're pretty much saying
still alive.
Somebody seemed to like Beric more than this crew. Somebody seemed to not really agree with that.
I mean, the one woman was like, "This just isn't fair. Like, we did nothing. Like, what the fuck's going on?"
That's what I was gonna get at. It's like this is kind of goes back to what they were saying about like the royalty gets ransomed, like we're nothing, we get killed, kind of thing. They're just kind of pawns in all this. They're here. They're not doing anything. They didn't do anything wrong. They didn't pick a side even. They're just fucking there. And then next thing they know, there's both sides are coming through their village and kind of doing what they need to do.
So one woman's like, at least the red cloaked guy with Beric gave us a piece of paper with some scribbles on it, and I was like, I can't eat that. He took 2 of my chickens. I can't eat a piece of paper.
Like, what the fuck is that? An IOU?
Money.
He gave him an IOU.
Or just like paper money. Yeah,
He wrote down, "Sorry, we took your 2 chickens.
It's a
we'll be
bit
back
of paper
later."
with a mark on it, so I assumed it was money. But
or it could have been. I guess it could have been an IOU, or like
the only money we've heard of is dragons and silvers and coppers.
What's a dollar bill, Jeff?
Yeah,
it's an IOU essentially, right?
We have no currency other than
I know,
the
but
coins.
what I'm saying is it's already an IOU, right?
It's a United States $100 bill.
Okay, but they don't have.
Regardless, what I was thinking,
it's
who is this guy?
This is like Dumb and Dumber. They have the briefcase of IOUs. Like, that's not fucking money for them.
But if somebody would take those IOUs and give you something for that, then it is money. That's what I'm saying. So
it's like street bucks.
If she finds this red priest, I mean, like, what are the chances this guy ever comes
5
back?
Stanley Nichols. So the red priest. Who's the red priest? That's what I was getting at. Who is he?
It's the flame dude. I don't remember his name.
His name's Thoros of Myr. What is what are the last 2 words there?
Of Myr.
Which is an island. Doesn't matter. It's a different country. It's an island. A free city. It's a free city and an island.
Okay.
But it could have different money. What if it has paper money?
Oh yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking. While we were all jumping around.
Yeah, maybe you gave him mirror money.
Maybe give him mirror money. Exactly. Mermaid money.
Mirrors.
Somebody was bitching that like the old king would have never done it, like never had let this happen.
And Arya's like, "Oh, you mean Robert?"
Yeah.
Forget yourself.
Fuck Robert.
I mean Ares.
Ares.
Which brings me back. Which makes me think of what Jorah told Dany back when they were in Vase Dothrak. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Mm-mm.
He was like, the small folk don't give a fuck who sits the Iron Throne or who's like fighting, who's winning which war. They just want a happy, like a big harvest, sun and rain. You know what I mean? Like sunny days. Like that's all. They just want to be left alone.
Yeah.
Basically. And they're not going to be left alone right now. And this guy's like, back in those days, nobody was fighting anybody. Everything was good. Yeah. So,
which, I mean, it's kind of like how politics work here. Like
we don't want to get too political, but it is weird.
Yeah.
It's just like sometimes a monarchy or a dictatorship, which is kind of more what it's like back then. Now, at least, I don't know if it's more of a democracy. Yeah, people fighting. For
this guy's mentioning like a fucking crazy guy, like a known crazy person that was
Mad
like
King.
burning people. You know?
Yeah, but they weren't burning people. His people. They're burning people in a city far away.
They weren't
that
coming
he didn't care
out
about
and burning him. Yeah,
exactly. So it's kind of just like leave me alone and I don't care. Yeah.
And then they come over and punch his teeth out.
Yeah.
And then nobody says anything ever again.
His last two teeth.
Yeah, his last teeth. Yeah, both his teeth or something.
Both his teeth.
I was thinking that too, Glow. Yeah, so you got punched in the face.
So they don't seem to be having too much problems finding food here, like, which is kind of. I guess I'm kind of.
Well, I think
John
they're taking
thing.
it.
Well, I know, but I mean, like I think I'm blending the John food scarcity issue.
So what you're talking about is how, along with all these captives, they're bringing about a bunch of cows and pigs and chickens and saltfish and stuff like that.
But it was John that's having problems, not anybody else.
Yeah, and he's
so
in a very.
Arya was
everybody in King's Landing.
Arya was starving.
Yeah, and Arya was too. Yeah,
and everybody in King's Landing. So John's not the only one with food troubles right now. But yeah, these guys had basically just been taking all the villages and stuff. So yeah, they're pretty good. Basically, they're all walking except for the mountains men who are all on horses. Mm-hmm. And if you try and flee, you get killed.
Those
who too slow to keep up.
Those who couldn't, see ya.
You're just killed. Yeah.
This is where
Straight
we meet.
To jail.
Oh no, we don't meet them yet.
Straight to hell.
We find out that like
it's Parks and Rec. No.
Yeah. I don't.
It is. I was
jail.
Referencing Park and Rec. Straight to late for dentist appointment.
Yeah, jail.
Straight to jail.
Is that the show that they were talking about in the Discord?
Yeah. I can't believe you haven't watched that. You need to watch that. It's another Michael Schur.
Somebody told me to watch Community.
Community
was good.
Yeah.
It's Community with Donald Glover.
Yeah, and
the
Chevy Chase is in the beginning.
No, not him. The old skinny white guy with white hair. Chevy Chase.
Chevy
is
Chase.
Chevy Chase is chubby. Chevy Chase is from the Christmas movies or the vacation movies.
Yeah.
He's in it.
No, he's chubby though. That's not what I'm talking about. There's a guy with like a long face with white hair.
I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name right now.
I think he's from Community,
not Steve Martin, but
not Steve Martin, but he looks kind of like that, but a thinner face.
I know who you're talking about,
and less funny.
He's in the Good
Is that not
Place
Community that he's in?
That's Ted Danson, and it's not
Ted Danson,
and it's not. He's not in that show.
Oh, he's not in Community.
Chevy Chase is in Community.
That's not who I'm talking about. I know who Chevy Chase is.
I know, but he's in Community. Like what? Like you think there's gonna be another random old dude that's in that show?
Yes, sure. Why not?
It's like
Golden Girls.
Nicole Brown, Chevy Chase, Allison Brie. Who else is in that? Joel McHale.
Were the Golden Girls? Were the Golden Girls old when the Golden Girls? I don't know. I don't even know what the Golden Girls is.
Yes.
Moving on.
I mean, they're all dead except for Betty White.
But so that's another Michael Schur show, right? So not Community, but
I don't know what Michael Schur means.
It's Mose from The Office. He wrote The Office. He's like the executive producer of The Office.
What?
Yeah,
Mose wrote The Office?
Yeah, he's like in charge of that. He wrote Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Who's Mose?
Dwight's cousin, Mose.
Dwight's cousin, yeah, the weird one.
Oh, shit.
And he hated being Mose.
He wrote it? Why'd he give himself that role?
They made him do it. Like he was like an executive producer or whatever. But he's
that is hilarious. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he really hated that role.
Executive producer.
I'm sure he kind of leaned into it. Mose is a hilarious role.
Yeah, but anyway, what I'm saying though is you need to watch all this shit. Like I'm not a huge Brooklyn Nine-Nine fan because I don't really like Andy Samberg all that much.
You like Andy Samberg?
Nah, not that much.
Maybe
He's-
Samberg?
Isn't there a
but
Baldwin
that's
brother
another
in
one of
that?
his shows. What's that?
Isn't there a Baldwin brother in that? Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Not a main character. He might be in it at some point.
What's the
Chris Pratt's in it.
No,
Rock
that's
something?
Parks and
Rec.
What's,
That's
what's,
Parks and
what's the
Rec.
rock? What's the rock something?
Um,
Something rock.
Chris Rock.
No, it's a
No,
TV
it's
show
Terry.
name.
It's Terry Crews.
No,
Yeah,
something
Terry
rock.
It's Forget About
30
Chris.
Rock
It's his-
is Alec
30
Baldwin.
Rock. Alec Baldwin. Okay.
Yeah.
I've never seen any of these shows that we're talking about right now except for The Office. And
Well,
it's,
you should-
don't-
you should
and
watch
you
Parks and
didn't
Rec.
even remember Moe's from it, so let's stop talking about it.
You should
I
watch
thought
Parks
when
and
you
Rec.
said Moe's, I immediately think of The Simpsons. I thought Kyle was wrong because I know Kyle's a huge Simpsons fan too. I was like, Moe's is a bar in The Simpsons. You
All
guys
right,
showed
so
this.
also as they are walking, when they go off at night, it's not uncommon for the women to be pulled off into the forest and get used, and a lot of them are going sheepishly. But there's one girl that's a little bit prettier than the others, and she got passed around a couple times a night until
Yeah.
she had enough of it.
And hit somebody with a rock. That's what I'm saying. Basically, you just need to have that girl wait until she's with the mountain. That's how you get rid of him. Because you're not going to do
But
it with
is he
manpower.
doing that?
No, they don't mention if he's doing it or not. But
Yeah,
these men
it sounds like he
definitely
kind
are.
of stays
He
out
did
of some
one
of this
thing, and he
stuff.
took his longsword and chopped her in two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One swipe.
And so Arya glances, and we find out who has Needle. What's his name?
Polly.
Oliver.
Oliver.
Black-bearded balding man.
My
It's 'cause
guy.
they took it.
We don't know any of those. Glow's got more of a red beard,
Yeah.
right?
Chris.
It looks a
Chris
little black
Kringle
right
beard.
now.
No, it's definitely more red than
It's in a
black.
shadow. It's in a shadow.
And she was also like learning the Lannister Guard too, right?
Well,
She
it's
was.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're talking about the whole time. But it's funny when Gregor cuts off this girl's head, Arya's looking at Needle and Polliver's belt and's like, good thing they took that from me.
I'd stab him.
Or else I'd stab him right now. Which is just like,
And
she
he
knows
would-
it wouldn't end well
yeah.
for her.
Yeah, and he
she
would
knows it
cut
wouldn't
her
end
right
well
in
for her. Yeah.
What would Syria do? Well, even to that point too, like she mentioned, like, oh, Syria wouldn't take it. We don't know. We didn't see it, but Syria ended up fighting 5 guys. Maybe he did okay. We don't know.
She says he's dead. We know no confirmation. No,
No
body, no
co-
confirmation.
No kill confirmed. They didn't pick
Yeah.
up his dog tags. But to the point where she was learning the Lannister Guard, she knows that like Rafe or Raph and Chiswick, like, don't fuck around with them. Like, they're just gonna slap the shit out of you. But there's a guy named
Shitmouth
Shitmouth
Who
who
has
talks like a sailor.
has the worst
But-
mouth she's ever heard. But
But
he'll
we'll
give you
her an extra piece of bread at
please,
dinner if
sir,
you
may I
ask for
have some more? Sure, kiddo.
it. Hey, here, you fucker.
So she
So
started to
this is-
watch him, and she starts to like hate all these different people. Some of these people, but then she goes back on people she's hated for a while now, and she makes a little list. Kyle, is that what you're going to talk about?
No, I was just gonna say like she's selling herself a little short when she says she's not like Sirio, because she's kind of is doing some of these things and learning and trying to understand her surroundings and figuring out the situation. It's a shitty situation. Maybe he might have fought back, but at the same time, like this is the best she can do, and she's she's doing it. It seems like.
What would Syrio have done if he didn't have anything to fight with? You know that.
Yeah.
And
I mean, and who knows? But
Yeah, I was
So,
thinking.
yeah.
I was thinking about that too. I was thinking like she's definitely acting like Syrio would act if he was in this position. The only difference between the two of them is how she got here. Syrio probably would have been a little bit smarter, and if Gendry got captured, just been like fuck him or done something else. Syrio just probably would have not gotten this position if possible.
he probably wouldn't have brought hot pie with him.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. She's being too hard on herself about the current situation when I think she should be looking back and being like, what did I do to fuck up to get here? Which again, we saw like there's not much she could have done
When
otherwise.
she's 10 or whatever is the other
Yeah,
seven.
exactly. She's young. But
She's
like
not abandoning her
I agree.
friends, dude.
I'm just saying I agree with you, guy. Like in terms of like if you place Syrio as a captive of the mountains, all these people, I think he's doing a lot of the same stuff. Learning what everyone's doing, learning who all these people are, like who's
Who you
good,
get
who's
favors
bad.
from.
Exactly.
Who to stay away from.
Yeah, it's kind of what Tyrion did, right? It's like what Tyrion did on the way to the Vale. He figured out who he was with, figured out Bronn was his way in, and then exploited that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he's best friends with Bronn.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Bronn's
that's
standing, now
And he's
Bronn's standing at
fucking
the foot
king.
of the Iron Throne. Exactly.
Yeah.
Tyrion's sitting on it, and Bronn's standing right at the foot. Yeah. So now, but we got this little list. So she's talking about everybody she hates, and this we get the first name's a new guy. Dunson is the guy who stole Gendry's helm. So Dunson stole Gendry's thing. Polliver stole Needle. Those are the first two. What's the rest of them?
Chiswick, who thought he was funny. Raph, the sweetling, who killed Mommy.
She hates Chiswick because he thought he was funny, which is kind of funny. Like I hate all these other people for good reason.
In the middle
Chiswick,
of,
like Chiswick actually punched her in the face.
We've all been there before.
Like Chiswick punched. He was the one who punched her in the face. But that's not what she says here. Just I hate him because he thought he was funny.
She's been punched before.
Also, I've hated people because they thought they were funny. Yeah,
for sure.
Gorge. Yep. For Yoren.
Marin Trant for Syria.
For Micah.
For Syria.
No,
the Hound for
Syria.
Micah.
Yeah, the Hound for Micah.
Ilan and Joffrey and the Queen for Ned. And Fat Tom and Desmond and the rest.
Even the wolf.
Lady and Sansa's wolf.
Tickler was too scary to hate.
He made it on the list though. When she starts whispering it to her, when she whispers to her pillow, Tickler's there.
Yeah.
And then the last one that makes it on the list that she doesn't mention there was Gregor, but he's kind of obvious.
The Mountain.
So yeah, then that night she whispers this list: Sir Gregor, she whispered to her stone pillar, Sir Dunson, Polliver, Chiswick, Raff the Sweetling, the Tickler, and the Hound. Sir
What's a Sweetling?
Sir Mary. I think it's a nice guy because when she's talking about like who, like just he's like a nice dude. Because when they talk about like shitmouth would give you more food, she's like, but if you ask funny Chiswick, jolly Chiswick, or soft spoken Raff,
okay,
he would hit
they
you.
would
So
slap you.
I'm assuming
so he's a fake
it was
nice
capitalized. I didn't know if it was.
I'm just assuming soft spoken and Sweetling are
fair enough.
like that's kind of where he gets it. It's kind of what I was assuming there. Sir Ellen, the Sir Mary, King Joffrey's Queen Cersei. Yeah, same thing. And he's like, she used to pray.
This is her Billy Madison to kill list, you know. Pretty much.
Glad I called that guy.
Glad I called that guy.
Exactly. She doesn't have any weirwood. She doesn't have a sept, so she kind of makes this her new prayer.
Yeah, fuck all these people.
Well, she even said like it didn't matter. Like there was no gods on the road to Harrenhal. Like
exactly, yeah. That feels like a quote from history. There's no gods on the quote too.
On the quote,
hell is paved with good intentions.
All right, moving on.
The road to hell is paved. That does not fit this in the least.
So like we mentioned, they were coming up on Harrenhal. They could see the walls, but they were still a couple days away.
Yeah, we talked about that before. This place is just so fucking, or earlier to this episode, but this place is just so fucking massive that you can see it from 3 days out.
Yeah, crazy. I think after this episode, I might load up Westeros Craft and go check out Harrenhal.
Is that in Minecraft?
It's like a Minecraft mod that was crowdsourced where they had
thousands of
people working on it, and they literally just like remade Westeros basically.
See you, Jeff.
They're still working on it.
Not
like the last time I was there, they were working. We haven't seen it in the books yet, but Sunspear is a Dornish castle that they're working on. They had like planned out. I don't think so. I think it's PC only.
That was fun when we flew around that the one day at your house.
Yeah.
So we come up on the march and we can see Harrenhal. We can start to see the walls, but we do then find out that there's still three days of a march away.
Yeah,
and this
Arya
is when
doesn't find that out. She's like, "Oh, we'll be there in a day."
Yeah,
but it takes like 3 days. Yeah.
This is when the other captives start thinking that, like, all right, once we get to Harrenhal, stuff's gonna get better.
Life's gonna be better.
Arya does not feel that way.
Arya remembers her history lessons from old Nan.
Hair in the black, mixed human blood in the mortar.
Mixed blood in the mortar. Yeah, fucked up.
And still, Aegon the Conqueror still burned everyone inside there.
Roasted him and all his sons anyway.
And they must be walking up onto the camps of, because obviously the whole army can't be in the castle. They just smell bad. Like what? Like they're just not. They're just not showering. Oh, okay.
They put it around the outside.
They've been there for a while.
This many people and this
shit everywhere.
Think about like if you had an Eagles tailgate, but for a month. Like just how bad this
and nobody was emptying
areas.
the outhouses.
Well, the porta potty areas, like even if you
that's
dump
what I'm saying. Nobody emptied the porta potties.
It would just be so bad. Now, how many people at an Eagles tailgate, Jeff? How many people at an Eagles game?
I mean, big ones we've had probably close to 40. Small
so like
ones
a
we've had
one?
12.
So normal one's probably around 20, 25.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like probably close to the size of literally like they have an Eagles tailgate going on around Harrenhal right now. It's like very similar, but they have it for however long. It's been months.
Well, I mean, you're saying like all of the whole Eagles tailgate, like every parking lot.
He thought you were saying
I thought you meant
25,000.
I thought you meant just like our personal.
No, but it's like all around Harrenhal. So like even when you're approaching from one direction, you're approaching from one lot.
It's way more than that because like 68,000 people go into the game. So
that's what he was asking.
It's probably like 85,000 people are there to tailgate.
Because not
Well, then what do you mean?
everyone
Where was the 20,000 number coming from?
He said 20
people.
I was just talking about my personal
Oh,
tailgate. I thought you were talking about like
He
our
had
piss
1,000
buckets, like
at the
our
end of
piss
it.
buckets
Yeah.
and shit like that.
No one cares about your personal tailgate, Jeff.
No,
Bro,
I
fuck
do.
up.
Jeff's
Shut
personal
up.
tailgate's legit.
That's why you're a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, grow up, Glow. Glow hasn't been to one tailgate all year.
Yeah. No, he's not invited
Yeah, I
either.
have.
The one I wasn't at, minus. There was one
You
I
were at
wasn't
it?
at.
You didn't come to a tailgate this year.
Dude, Jeff. Fuck you. I was there. I
Jeff-
played you in fucking washers and lost.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
That could have been any day.
That's
Anyway.
literally any time you'd play me in washers, but I do remember. It was with Jake and Kevin and them.
Armies make a big stink.
That was early on in the year.
Back to the
I
chapter.
just had
This is gonna be the
big
longest-
days. I just had big days. It's your
Longest
fault.
short
It's your
chapter.
fault. You talked about fucking Parks
It
and
was a
Rec
Chiefs
for
game.
15 minutes and wanted to keep talking about it. All right. So we get just again. We've heard Harrenhal was melted a couple times. It probably looks like a candle ish. Like a, just
What
a
Arya
burnt
says later,
candle.
I think, is the old man's like arthritis-y, gnarled fingers reaching up towards the sky.
Knuckly fingered.
Yeah, like he's trying to.
And, but
So-
then they also say that the rocks melted and flowed like candle wax. So yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Well,
So,
that's on the side. Yeah, but this castle again, like they can't really. That's one of the
Ugly
things
and
you can't
misshapen
do.
is how it's described.
Yeah, that's one of the things you can't do, and I don't
They'll
know, who
figure
knows?
it out.
We'll see how they
They'll
do
figure it out.
I'll look up Westeros.
Hot Pie's scared. He's like, oh, they got ghosts there. And I forget which person says it to him. Probably
Chiswick.
because he wants to be funny. Says either go be with the ghost or become one.
Yeah,
And Hot
I
Pie
was
is
like, all right, I'm
fucking.
coming.
yeah.
They
This
strip
is-
them all down, bathe them up.
Before we get there, read the quote about Harrenhal. This is the first actual we've ever seen Harrenhal. So
Harrenhal was deceptive from afar because it was so huge. Its colossal curtain walls rose beside the lake, sheer and sudden as mountain cliffs, while atop their battlements the rows of wood and iron scorpions looked as small as the bugs from which they were named. Harrenhal's gatehouse, itself as large as Winterfell's great keep, was as scarred as it was massive. Its stones fissured and discolored. From outside, only the tops of 5 immense towers could be seen beyond the walls. The shortest of them was half again as tall as the highest tower in Winterfell, but they did not soar the way a proper tower did. Arya thought they looked like some old man's gnarled, knuckly fingers groping after a passing cloud. She remembered Nan telling how the stone had melted and flowed like candle wax down the steps and in the windows, glowing a sullen, searing red as it sought out Harren where he had hid. Arya could believe every word. Each tower was more grotesque and misshapen than the last, lumpy and runneled and cracked.
dopest castle in Westeros.
Biggest.
Is it doper?
It's pretty
Since it
crazy
got
that
burned.
it's still the biggest. It's crazy that it's been burned and still livable. Like you could still.
I'm just saying. I think burned Harrenhal would be like the Harrenhal we have is cooler than the Harrenhal we would have had if it wouldn't
No.
have been burned. No.
No.
It seems just as massive. Like it seems like all the like. I don't
It's
know.
still massive. I think it's cool that it's still massive, even though like half of it was burned down. Like, but just imagine how big it would have been, like not burned down. Like it would have been dope. All right, so all the captives get brought in the Harrenhal. They make them bathe in like scalding hot water, and there's 2 ladies
Danny
that
would
are
have
kind
been
of
cool with, right? I didn't know if that had anything to do
Yeah.
with that.
Danny liked the
I
water
didn't have
hot.
a good connection. I
I
just
didn't
was
even
like,
think about
oh, this is another.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right.
It's like somebody likes Scotland.
You're always trying to connect Danny and Arya.
We just love them both. I connect to everybody. I connect to anybody I can.
There's
Who are the 2
two
old ladies?
ladies,
Good wife Amabel.
Amabel and Hara.
And good wife Hara.
Yep. And Arya thinks they're being treated basically like donkeys, a herd of cattle. They're just like looking at them like, oh, that one's fat. This one's good at this one's strong. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
This
these
girl's
ladies
got matted
probably
hair.
were in the same situation not too long ago, right? Like,
At one point, yeah.
Probably.
I mean, they're
yeah.
old now, but yeah, probably at one point is what I was thinking.
They ask for Arya's name, and Arya's like, "Oh shit, I don't want to use Ari. That's a guy's name." All right, and she says the first female name that she can think of, and that's Weasel.
Is
It's not
Ari
even a
even a
female
dude's name? Like I would have never been like, oh, that's definitely a dude. It was kind of
Maybe in Game of Thrones world it is.
Weasel is definitely not a female name, though.
Weasel is like it's a
an
rat.
animal.
Like
Yeah.
like who named you
Her
Weasel?
mommy called me Weasel, is what she says.
Yeah,
so
so
like,
she
I
has
mean, it's fair that she kind of goes with that. But
And also, they say what they say is they're like, that makes sense. Look at your hair; it's a mess. Let's cut that off.
Yeah.
Didn't Yoren just cut her hair off? Like how long ago was that? She just got her hair
it
cut
was
off
months
by
ago
Yoren.
at this point. That had to have been.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, he didn't shave her head either.
Timeline. This is
6 months.
Timeline doesn't matter.
I don't know about 6 months, but I'd give it 3 to 5. Yeah,
4 months. So how much did your hair grow? 4 months.
a lot.
Yeah, you're right.
I would.
For
I
Glow,
wouldn't
none.
know.
I mean, we don't even know how short he did cut it. Like it seems like he kind of
Yeah, he definitely left her something.
He
Definitely
cut it with
pretty
a
rough.
knife, you know.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It's like he's fucking
She probably had
taking
like
a
a
razor blade to it.
But they cut it off. They probably do cut it bald because they said they thought it was a nest
lice,
for
I
lice. Lice, yeah. So bald.
cutting it pretty short.
Yeah.
I mean, short. I don't know if
Short or
it
bald,
has to be
yeah.
bald, but definitely like a number 2.
So they're
She asked
saying
for
that
a
they're going to
better
cut it
job.
off, and they're like, all right, and then we're going to send you to the kitchens.
Yeah, like like kitchen will be good for you. It'll be warm, hot, place to sleep. You'll be
But I
good.
don't want to go to the kitchens. I like horses.
I'll
Yeah.
tend to the horses, please.
She gets her lip
Maybe-
broken open
Maybe
again.
I'll escape.
Yeah,
Huh?
she gets. Well, first off, she does like horses, but yeah, she's also thinking about escape. And Hara, good wife Hara, smacks her. She gets her lip broken back open.
Mhm.
Told her to keep his mouth shut unless she's. Or there's more where that came from.
We're gonna send you with Weiss.
Yeah, she's like, nah. What do you think about Weiss? And they both agree. She goes to Weiss. We go meet
5
Weiss.
other people go with her.
Yep. And Weiss is the under steward of the Wailing Tower. And what's he tell them?
The Lannisters are generous to those that serve them well, and honor none of your sort deserve. But in a war, a man makes do with what's to hand. Work hard and mind your place, and might be one day you'll rise as high as me. If you think to presume on his lordship's kindness, though, you'll find me waiting after my lord has gone, you see.
Yep. So then he tells them not to look at a highborn or speak to him unless spoken to, and never get in their way. And then he tells them,
My nose never lies. I can smell defiance, I can smell pride, and I can smell disobedience. I catch a whiff of any such stinks, you'll answer for it. When I sniff you, all I want to smell is fear.
"Yep."
Fair.
So that's
Fucking
Arya's
Toucan
new
Sam.
Arya's
Hey,
new boss.
I was called that once in middle school, and then I threatened to beat up the guy, and they stopped.
So what do you think, Kyle? What do you think Arya's going to do while
So
she's
like
hanging
I
out
like
in
how they
Harry
like play
Hall?
this off. Like feel like it does parallel the Handmaid's Tale. You know, like where it's like, you know, just be a good person and a good, you know, fall in line and you'll become just as powerful as the rest of us. Like get the fuck out of here. This guy is like he doesn't say I was once a captured fucking captured servant. Like who was he? You know, like he could have just been a Lannister dude from birth, and now he's here and.
Yeah,
Like,
they keep
promise
telling them
of-
they can rise high, but like,
They put the
where-
West-
from
the
where?
West- Westeros dream is not true.
actually exist. What's that, Joe?
The Westeros dream is not true.
Well, also for Arya, who
It's just the
started off
stuff they
as
put
so
on billboards.
highborn, where it's like, how low could Arya possibly fall? And this is like way lower than she could ever imagine, to the point where like she's so low that the highest point she could possibly achieve from where she's at is still probably lower than she could have ever imagined to fall from like where she was born at. So I get what you're saying, Kyle. You're in such a bad situation where you have no chance of getting out. Just like the people, I haven't seen The Handmaid's Tale, but I'm assuming it's basically slavery for them too, right? Like they can't just
Yeah,
like
there's,
leave,
like-
walk out the door, and be like, I'm gonna get a different
Yeah.
job if they want, right? Which is like they kind of make it seem like that. Like, all right, you're a servant now. Okay, well, servant can just like go and
I
leave if
haven't
they
seen
want.
the whole thing either, for the record. I've seen
Okay.
parts. I know the plot line is like America's taken over by, you know, this ultra right wing group, and not all these women can get pregnant, but the ones that can become slaves pretty much, and like, you know, it's
Yikes!
it's pretty.
I thought it was like a
Sketchy.
historical.
It's not
Show.
historical.
Oh, I
No.
thought it was historical, like based on
No.
like London in the olden times or something.
No, it's like new America, like
Oh
you know.
shit! Damn. Well, that actress Yvonne Strahovski is a babe. I'll put a picture of her in the
So
Discord.
she
was from
like,
Chuck.
She's like the head asshole's wife, like actual wife.
Like, is she like a good guy?
No,
Damn, she's like.
not that I know of, at least.
If you
and-
guys have anybody ever seen Chuck, let us know in the Discord. Literally, probably my favorite show, even above Game of Thrones.
Well,
So
why the
good,
fuck don't
and
we have a
she's the
Chuck
main character in
podcast?
it. We should have a Chuck podcast. There's no book on it, but we should have a Chuck podcast. We'll
I've never
switch
seen
to
Chuck.
Chuck show afterwards. It's so good.
What is
Let us
Chuck
know in the
about?
Discord.
It's about a nerd who becomes a spy somehow.
Okay.
He works at Best Buy. His best friend ends up working for the CIA, and his best friend gets in trouble. Emails Chuck this thing. When Chuck looks at it, it's like a bunch of flashing images, but it basically downloads a bunch of secret into his mind subliminally. So then when he sees government secrets, like he'll see like a tank. And it'll be like, oh fuck, that is the secret Russian blah, 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 tank. So then they send a CIA agent and an NSA agent to like handle him and make sure that like they basically end up having to take him on secret missions because they can't get this shit out of his head. So they have to take him on secret missions. But Yvonne Stravosky is the CIA agent. She's like the spy handler for him. She's just like she's wearing like leather and just kicking ass all the time. She's a fucking babe and love interest. Yeah, she's a babe. You've seen it, Glow? Do you not like Chuck? Sorry,
dude,
Kyle.
I saw it like the first season when it first came out.
2012,
10,
maybe even before 2008, probably. Go ahead, Kyle.
I was definitely before high school. All right, Kyle, let's go back again. What do you think is going to happen to Arya?
So, I mean, and this is kind of tainted by what I said earlier, in that I think she's going to be here for a while because I think we need a inside look at Harrenhal. So that's kind of unfair, unfair prediction, but
that's not unfair.
I also don't see a way out for her at this point in time. I think inevitably they figure out who she is, but at the same time, it doesn't seem like Tywin's too involved with any of these people, particularly like personally. Like, I mean, I'm sure he's aware that these people are coming in, but I think at this point she's just been processed and is now another one of the crew, and they're not going to be like, "Who are you?" Like that kind of.
Her and Tywin aren't going to have much face-to-face time.
Part of the ship, part of the crew.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe she just kind of makes it work for now, but I think that could be the, I don't want to say turning point, but it could be a very pivotal point in Rob's, quote unquote strength of his position at this point. Like, I guess he doesn't even know that she's missing, but at the same time, like without her, the Lannisters don't have nearly as much, but if they do have her, and if they figure out that they have her, then they do have a lot. It's
so the
it's
Lannisters
kind of this weird
don't
situation
have her.
because then what's that?
So you're saying basically the Lannisters don't have her, think they don't have her, but they kind of now do have her again, but just don't know they have her.
Yeah, and I don't know how you figure that out either, though. Like I said, like she's at this point, she's just in there. So. And I doubt anybody at King's Landing would be like, oh yeah, she was with the Night's Watch and they got attacked here and now they probably ran to you here. Like they're not going to be able to trace that back. But yeah, and then just like the way the war is kind of falling apart as well around Rob, it kind of makes it a little less important, I guess, that she gets captured. His position kind of is crumbling anyway with Stannis coming in and that whole stuff, and then the Greyjoys. So I kind of meandered here because I don't really have a good prediction what happens to her other than she's stuck here for a while.
What you're saying is everything's popping off right now in the book.
Yeah.
Everything's about to get good.
Hopefully.
All right.
Good. All right, cool.
I'll tell you one thing. Next chapter is not one of my favorites.
Bummer.
Boring Danny chapter. Boring Danny 2. We'll see what everybody else thinks. I've already read it, but.
All right, Cal.
All right, guys.
Thank
Bye,
you for joining
Kyle.
us this evening. We will see you on the next episode of Danny's 2.
Later, nerds.
See everybody else in the spoiler section.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
See you
Bye,
later, Cal. It was
Kyle.
great hanging out, bud. We'll see you on the next episode for Daenerys 2. But now, on to the spoiler section of Arya 2. Guys, I have absolutely nothing for spoilers. What about you?
I feel like there's some interesting sweets, Glow.
Oh, wait. Sweetling. He's not really sweet. Done.
Not even that. There's some other sweets.
I didn't read any other sweets.
I didn't.
I thought there was. I think I have two. Oh, you know what? I actually just took notes on the Danny chapter, so it might not be
You
sweets.
fucking-
No,
Yeah,
there's
that
no
makes
sweets.
sense. Yeah.
There's sweets in the Danny chapter.
The only thing
Two
what
of the
was it?
Arya deaths are introduced in this chapter. I'll tell you that. How about we do a guessing game? Two of the people that Arya uses her Jaqen deaths on were introduced in this chapter. Let's guess.
Wrath of Sweetling.
Nope.
Poliver.
Nope.
Cheswick?
Yep. That's one. Which is funny because he gets on the list for
And
thinking
Weiss.
he was funny. Chiswick and
And
Weiss.
Weiss.
Wow. Jeff with the bang bang. Did I tell you? I've been FaceTiming Jeff and talking to Jeff about this Arya storyline a lot because Arya storyline gets really good. So let's get into why they were the deaths. Wheeze, he's literally just like literally the worst
finds
ever.
out that one of them finds out that she was reading a note, right?
No, that's a show only. Chiswick tells this story where she overhears Chiswick telling the story where the mountain's men, so like Polliver, they're all in this inn, and like the mountain basically just like rapes this girl. Like they're all raping this girl, and then the man, basically what happened. Remember when the hound's like, if you don't give me these chickens, I'm gonna kill every one of you or whatever. What is that? Whatever that fucking scene is so good. Basically, Chiswick tells that story. Where like there's an innkeeper, they're all like raping his daughter, and then someone but the hound's there, and he like tells the hound like, "Oh, I don't like what you're doing," and the hound rapes his daughter in front of him and then kills them both or something like that, or then gives him like a few coppers because he says his daughter wasn't worth what she was supposed to.
The
be.
hound raped somebody?
Yeah, or no, the mountain.
I was gonna say that doesn't strike me as a hound move.
But she overhears Chiswick telling the story, and because of that, Jockin comes up to her and is like, "Hey, you get 3 deaths," and she's like, "Yeah, Chiswick sucks. Give like Chiswick's not 1 because you had just heard the story." That's what she gives Chiswick. It's gonna be it's so frustrating listening to Arya like name names when you like know like, dude, just say Tywin, like just say Tywin. She even thinks to herself like after she kills Wheeze, who's the second one, she's like, "Why didn't I say Tywin? Like I'm such an idiot." And then she uses her third one to try and escape, and it doesn't work. But
she escaped.
I thought it did work. What do you mean?
So I was telling Jeff earlier today, I might have said this in a previous spoiler section. What happens in the books is Vargo Hoat comes back to Harrenhal. Amory Lorch is running it. Tywin is left. Amory Lorch only has about 100 men holding the whole thing, I think. Like at least 100 armed men. There might be like Wheeze and like the servants and stuff, but 100 armed men. Vargo Hoat and the brave companions / bloody mummers come back with 100 Northmen. The Serwyn, I think a bunch of Serwyns and some other people. And Arya basically says, "Hot Pie, Gendry, please help me. We're going to save the Northmen, and then they're going to help me." Because I think Hot Pie at some point figures out because he had heard her say Winterfell, like yell Winterfell when they were attacked. I thought it was in this chapter, and I almost said it, but it wasn't. So I'm glad I didn't say it. But like Gendry comes up to her, and she's like, "Hey, Hot Pie knew you said Winterfell. Like, what was that about?" Like, and she's like, and he's like, he tells Arya that he told Hot Pie that she just said go to hell. So like if he asked you, said
Winterfell,
go to hell.
Go to hell.
Arya thinks it's a stupid thing to say, but whatever. It's minute details. She asks him to help. Gendry's like, "It doesn't matter if I'm a Smith here or a Smith in Winterfell. It's the same shit. Like fuck yourself. Like I don't give a shit who wins." Basically, and Hot Pie pretty much says the same thing. So then Jockin finds her.
I'm gonna bake pie anywhere.
Yeah. So then Jockin tells her that like finds her cursing the weirwood tree, saying like, "Fuck you, you never helped me out," pretty much. And he's like, "Don't curse the gods." And she names Jockin, just like on the show. He's like, "Unname me." He's like, "Well, then you got to help me free all the Northmen." Arya thinking then they'll help me escape. So they do. She gets Hot Pie to make some boiling soup. Her, Biter, Rorg, and Jockin all take it down to the dungeons where they're storing these 100. There's 100 Northmen and 100 fighting men for Sir Army, so it's about even. But Vargo Hoat had been getting Sir Army's men drunk. Like they'd all been getting drunk. They kill everybody and let the Northmen out. They kill Jockin and then kill the guards in the dungeons. They let the Northmen out, and they're like, "Wow, did Vargo Hoat send you?" Is the first thing the Northmen say when they like meet Jockin, and he's like, "Fuck." So like there was an inside plan where Vargo had already switched sides. I remember Vargo switched sides to the north. I just didn't remember when. Vargo and Bolton already had this plan, where Vargo was going to come into the castle with all these Northmen, pretend they were captives, get everybody drunk, and then he was going to release them himself to kill everybody and take over the castle for Bolton. Arya just like got in the way and helped it happen faster. And then all the Northmen who were in on it were confused when they're like, "Wait, you're not in on it." So Jockin changes his face and dips. Like the last time Arya sees Jockin is right then after he frees all the Northmen. I don't even remember exactly how Arya gets out. And he dips. And all the Northmen come over and Bolton comes in and people are like making fun of it. They're like, they keep calling it weasel soup. They're like, "Oh, the Northmen took over because of the weasel soup." And like weasel doesn't like goats more than lions because Vargo Hoat is, they call him the goat and lion, and the Lannister's lion,
the flying goat.
So they think that she was working for Vargo Hoat the whole time. And Bolton shows up and he's like, "Girls, are you afraid of leeches?" And she's like, "They're just leeches." And he's like, "All right, you're my new cupbearer. My squire could learn a thing from you," because he likes getting leeched. So like I don't remember
What's
exactly.
What are they leeching people for? Is that punishment?
No, Bolton like
it's
leeching
Bolton
himself.
likes leeches, yeah.
Oh,
That's like one of the reasons people think he's a vampire for some of the like a leeching thing. But Arya becomes Bolton's cupbearer. Like in the show, she's Tywin's.
she's Tywin's.
But like she doesn't escape that from that. Like after her third kill, she still hasn't escaped.
You don't even remember?
I don't remember. When I got to the Dany,
How does she end up with the Hound? The Hound stealer? What? That's what the banner. The Brotherhood, right? Do the Brotherhood come in?
Yeah, that's book 3. She basically gets out of Harrenhal by the end of this book. I stopped listening when I got to the Dany 4, which is the House of the Undying. I stopped listening then. I listened to a lot of the Classic Kings audiobooks up to like more than like probably 80% of the way through on the way to and from home for the holidays to visit my family. So that's why I remembered this. So I wanted to correct myself because I was definitely wrong about what happened to Arya later. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure how she gets out of Harrenhal. I assume she makes Gendry steal a sword and she probably kills somebody and then they sneak out. I think she steals a map from Bolton and they sneak out.
Interesting. Okay. I don't remember.
Yeah, but Weeze, second death, interesting because Jaqen, when he kills him, Weeze has a dog. Like I'm sure we'll hear about it in the very next Arya chapter. Weeze has this like spotted bitch who he's grown since he was a pup. And the dog's fierce as shit, I think, but never hurts Weeze. And how Weeze dies is the dog kills the fuck out of him. And when Arya goes to the House of Black and White later, she's learning about all the different poisons and stuff from the waif, and she learns of basilisk blood, which when given to an animal just turns him into a fierce rage. So Jaqen, basically when Jaqen kills Chiswick, he just pushes him off a ledge. So Arya's like, well, that was easy. But then when Arya starts thinking it's like magic, when this dog who's super loyal to Weeze just turns on him and kills him. She finds out 2 books later. We find out 2 books later that there's a possibility, but like when Kyle finds that out, he's gonna be like, "What the?" He's like, "What the fuck? Actually, what was that?"
You never told me that. Definitely the first time on my read through.
I don't know. Well, me and you didn't start like talking a lot during your read through till like halfway through Feast, but like.
Oh, did you say 2 books from now?
In 2 books from now, when they get to Feast, is when Arya is with the waif, and she's like, "Here's a bunch of poisons," and we hear about like what the Tears of Lys does and what like the Strangler does.
Yeah.
Like for the first time, we actually hear like an actual description of what they're supposed to do, and we've seen them in effect before that. We never like hear what they're supposed to do.
All right, I want to say something. You've been talking for a while, dude. Anything else about Weeze? Cutting her hair. We've talked about this before. Rebirth of a new character, Weasel.
Yeah, I don't even think really too much about like the rebirth thing. I mean, I said this to you guys last chapter. What was the last chapter?
Tyrion. What's his name?
Pycelle got his beard cut off. I honestly don't think there's a big deal of it, but like he does come right back out of the like Cersei gets him back in like 4 chapters.
And he's still the same old Pycelle.
And I think when Tywin comes back and takes over the small council at the end of this book, he gets put back on this. Like I think he gets reinstated. He gets reinstated immediately. So like I don't know if I would say it's a rebirth Pycelle.
I mean, is beard the same as like I don't know. You've always been running these parallels with Dany and
so I wouldn't go into that. You're right. I do. Somebody said that in the non-spoiler, and I do run a lot of parallels between them, but I don't think I do it in the non-spoiler section. And I have a big one. And the only reason I have this,
Kyle said it, so
yeah.
You must
did he? Okay.
Do it sometime. Yeah.
The only reason I have the big one is because I already read the next Dany chapter. The next Dany chapter, Dany gets to Karth. What happens in this chapter? If you had to explain this chapter in one word. No, in one sentence. One sentence.
March to castle.
What castle?
March to Harrenhal.
So and Dany goes to
March
Karth.
to Karth.
But they both describe like walking into this like new big castle. We've talked about how like what Dany had this whole chapter where she was like walking for an entire thing and she got to an abandoned town at the end. Arya had literally the exact same chapter. She was walking all day, got to the abandoned town at the end. Jon had the same chapter. He was walking all day, got to Molestown at the end. Right? Then Dany has a chapter. She's entering this huge, magnificent, like apparently one of the greatest castles in the world. One of the biggest cities in the world. Arya
the greatest city to ever be or will be.
Yeah, whoever was or yeah, exactly.
Whatever it is.
I think you might have hit it on the nose. But Arya is very similar. Like I didn't even notice it because I just took notes on the Danny chapter right before we podcasted here, and when Arya is walking through, she's talking about the Gates house and how they're banded with iron, and you'll see when we read the next Danny chapter, Danny's like, this wall, there's 3 walls, the outer wall was this, the inner wall was this, the center wall was this, and I'm just like, dang, it's similar. And she's getting her hair cut off. Danny just got her hair cut off. I don't know. I think there's something to what you're saying, Jeff. I didn't have too much else. I just said first of the Arya list.
One other thing.
First of the Arya list.
Okay.
First time?
Yeah. First time we ever hear it. And it changes along the way. People get added. People get removed. I think the Hound gets removed.
Yeah.
Without being killed.
She thinks about that, right? She like has.
I think that's at the end of the 3rd or beginning of the 4th that she removes him from the. After they go their several waves.
And she never, like, she doesn't say it in the same order either. Like, she'll say it like a bunch of times throughout the rest of this book, but it's like never in this, like, she'll like mix up their names, which is weird. Like, when you normally, like, if you're studying for like a quiz in like Eastern cultures class, do you guys have Eastern cultures class?
No.
I had Eastern and Western cultures class. That was like my history of Europe and history of Asia class.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have any of those in high school, Glo?
No.
What were your history classes like past like freshman year?
Government.
I had that like 11th grade.
That's all I really.
So what was your freshman and 10th?
My freshman year was like Eastern.
Yeah.
But they didn't call it that. They called it like world history, and then second year was U.S. history.
Well, I feel like I only covered the U.S. in middle school, which is
no, I had U.S.
great.
history.
Like we covered
year.
government. I
junior year
class
I
11,
did.
Junior year.
Junior year I did AP Euro. I think one of the years I did. AP
You had
Euro.
you had a class where you had to like learn a bunch of continents in like Africa, or like a bunch of continents. You had like a quiz where you had like 20 continents in Europe, and you had to like name them all, right?
In
You had
8th
that
grade,
at
I
some point.
memorized every country in the world.
So yeah,
Not
you had
memorized,
that
but we
one.
had a map. We literally did every single
And when
continent.
you do that, you remember. Remember to yourself.
I could go. Just give me a second here. Listen to this: Africa, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, Western Sahara, Mauritania, Mali, Niger, Chad, Sudan, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Djibouti, Somalia, Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Tanzania, Congo, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Malawi, Mozambique, Madagascar. We did that. Like we memorized.
So
Africa right there.
It's not. I forget. I get caught. I'm sorry.
We'll go back to it. Could you do that in a different order? Any other order? Switch 2 countries around. So that's what I'm saying. If you like, when you remember something, when you remember a long list, you remember in order. Arya, this list doesn't stay in order. Like it normally starts off with Mountain's Men and ends with like Sir Ilan and like Queen Cersei towards the end. But like Dunson, Polliver, Wrath of Sweetling, they always get mixed around, which is like so weird because it tells you she doesn't remember the list. She actually remembers it, right? Like Jeff doesn't like. If I asked you like, where's one of these things,
I know
you'd have to go.
You'd have
to go through the whole. You'd have to go through the whole list. You don't know where that thing is.
I know where some of them are.
You could find it. So you could find. There's a difference between what I'm saying is there's a difference between able to find it and like knowing it.
She didn't memorize the list. She knows the list.
She knows exactly. Like you could like she knows these fucking people. It's kind of my point to it. Like throughout these books, it changes. And also, Jeff, have you ever seen Animaniacs?
So random.
No, I have not seen.
Glo, you don't know the Animaniacs?
I know. I'm just saying it's so random that you brought up the Animaniacs.
You know the Animaniacs? Like there's an
and he goes
Animaniacs
through the
song.
whole list. He's like, dude.
United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't
Colombia,
know the song.
Ghana, then Venezuela, Haiti. I don't know. He goes through them all. But there's a song to it, and you can remember them all when you have a song to it. But like that's what I think is so weird about the Arya list is they change order every single time.
I mean, maybe she was just like laying in bed, like, all right, like, oh fuck, who did I said 8 names, I forgot one. Who did I miss?
Last point I had for the actual chapter. We're being so distracted.
Wait, I have one more.
Section.
I have one more. Let me go. Is there anything? I don't want to get you down a huge tangent, like, but you mentioned Jack and Hagar. Like, when does he pop through this?
What do you mean?
Like, when does he come out in the next Arya chapter? Or?
We have to see him in the next Arya chapter. There's not that. Like, I feel like Arya only gets tops 10 chapters in this book, and like we've said, we're almost 40% page way through, but
now we're 50% now, right?
We're at like 420, and there's like 950.
Yeah, we're a little bit under 50. I just
so like 40% pages, but we're like just at 30% chapters, barely. So like we have a lot of short chapters to go, and Arya doesn't have many of them. Like we have a lot of chapters to go, and Arya doesn't have many of them. It's kind of what I'm
goofy
saying.
to me that. I mean, I know we know Jack and Hagar, right? There's enough context clues that Jack and Hagar is elsewhere.
It's not even his real name, but yeah,
Whatever. What's his real name then?
we don't know. No one.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
that's
then
the
why'd you
name that
bring
we
it up?
know him by. What the fuck am I supposed to call him then if it's not
Well, I'm
Jack
saying
and
we
Hagar?
call him Jack and
Oh,
Hagar.
call
He's
him by
Jack
his
and
real
Hagar.
name,
What the
though, yeah.
fuck? Yeah,
I'm
okay.
just saying, that's how-
Glow,
I'm just
Glow.
saying, that's how
No.
mysterious-
Glow, can you give me his real name? Glow, give me his real name.
That's-
Oh, wait, we don't fucking know. Shut the
You were
fuck up.
talking about how mysterious he was, and my point was, yeah, he's that mysterious. We don't even know his real name. You're like, we don't know where he is. I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
we don't know his name. That was just another point. I'm agreeing with you.
Is he going to see Arya again? What's
I hope so. He's got to. If not,
it's weird to me.
cheese
Like
travesty
I don't
by
know.
George.
I just thought like, and you like totally debunked like the show that Jack and Hagar is just like everyone, right? Jack and Hagar becomes basically the whole fucking faceless.
Well, you
man.
thought Jack and Hagar, because of the show, you thought when you read the House of Black and White, you thought Jack and Hagar and the Kindly Man were basically the same guy. Because in the show, they are.
Well, right, because they pull the face off and then like
In the show, they
waist.
are the same guy.
And
But
like,
in the
they're
books,
they're all
but in the books,
Jack
when
and-
we read it this time, you'll see in the books, there's no mention ever once Arya gets out of, like, once Jaqen leaves here, there's no mention ever of Jack and Hagar. I mean, Arya will say when she gets to the House of Black and White, like, are you Jack and Hagar? And they'll be like, I don't know who that is. So, like, I think you were just a little bit influenced by the show on your first read through.
for sure. For definitely.
Yeah.
For definitely sure.
For
That's
definitely.
fucking
For
insane.
definitely.
But to your point, and I'm sure you'll bring this back up when we get to there, so I'll pull it out. When Jaqen tells her the last time, when sees her the last time and gives her the coin and changes his face, he's like, if you ever need to find me again,
Mhm.
this is what he tells her in the book. Give this coin to any man from Bravos and say these words, Valar Morghulis. Not if you ever want to like learn how to do what I do. Not if you ever want to go to the House of Black and White. Not if you want to find the Kindly Man. If you ever want to find me again, give this coin to any man from Bravos. So I'm not
and she
agreeing with
did
you.
that.
It's me again. Go on and fuck yourself.
I'm not agreeing with you. But I think it was a way of him to convince her to do it without actually saying do it. Because she's like, I want to learn how to do that. He's like, then you got to come with me. And she's like, I can't. I got to go to Winterfell. He's like, well, I have my own duties. And she's like, well, what if I want to find you again? And he's like, well, give this coin to any man from Bravos.
So he does find him in the Kindly Man.
I don't think
I mean, but here's the other thing. Like, they are no one, right? So, like, who is she finding? She's finding no one.
So
She's
it's
finding these people
there's
that
a
are also
difference.
no one.
But you're easy. It's there's a difference between like being no one and like acting as you have no identity and taking on the identity of whoever you know. But if you're doing that, so like say Glow and I both adopt that same like no what's it called? Like no one, you're no one person, and we go to different cities. He goes to Chicago, I go to Philadelphia. And then I start like I imitate one person. I pretend to be this one person from Philly, and Glow pretends to be the person from Chicago. Glow cannot immediately Glow doesn't know the interactions I had, right? So like when Arya what I'm saying is like when Arya gets to Bravos, the Kindly Man, Glow,
Mhm.
doesn't know all the interactions that Jaqen, me, had with Arya in Philadelphia, Harrenhal. So like how can Glow in Chicago, the House of Black and White, know what Jaqen, you know what I mean? Like he can't.
Yeah, I know.
It's not. You're not the same person. So like, even though you're pretending to be nobody and you have the same ideals and you like take on other people's identities, it doesn't mean you know all the same stuff. It's not a hive mind type deal.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think it's a good point though. My last point was Barrett Dondarrion. They bring him up. Is there anything
Yeah.
like IOUs? Barrett
do
is
we
given
know- do we-
IOUs. He gives an IOU to the
Yeah.
Hound
I mean, what
in
was
the
that?
show.
Like, oh, that's actual money? That's not money. Like, what
No,
what
but
are you
like
guys
I
talking
thought it was a little bit of a spoiler because he does give an IOU to the Hound later in this book. So
about?
like,
I don't remember that, so it's not a spoiler.
it's not a spoiler. I thought it was left a little bit up to interpret. I mean, you don't remember that, but in your subconscious, you know that like you remember Thoros giving out IOUs.
Okay,
Here's
whatever.
my IOU, bud.
It's not. It's
the
again. It's
one-
not an important spoiler.
The one
but
spoiler that I was gonna say is like we don't know that they're the Brotherhood without banners yet, right?
we don't know that they're
Or is-
anything. And
Right.
the Mountain even
It's
says
just
like
it's just Barrick is running around with a host of men doing
yeah.
shit.
And we
Yeah.
didn't even touch on it, but at one point they say like I think the Mountain or somebody from his clan says like you're better off with us than you would have been with those outlaws.
Mm.
And like from what we can see, the way that these guys are treating people and the way that Barrick treats people, these guys are the outlaws. Like, they act more like outlaws than Barrett does. Like, Barrett doesn't, like, torture and kill people for no reason.
He gave IOUs.
I mean, that's... I
It's
agree
better
with
than
this.
raping the daughter.
It's as good as stealing, though. I agree with the farm people. It's as good as stealing. They have no intention to come back and pay these people back.
Oh, 100%.
Even if they had the will to and they wanted to. Like, I think they had good intentions. We said this, I think, if it didn't get cut out in the non-spoiler section. The road to hell is paved in good intentions. That's kind of what the Brotherhood of that Banner's doing. They have good intentions. They want to pay everybody back. But they're just writing checks they can't cash. Like, where are they going to get money? Even if their cause is valid, it's not like they're just going to get rain money down upon. And even if they do, they're not going to remember every single person they owe money to and track them down wherever they moved to pay them back.
The only thing that they could do is like maybe like kill a big host of Lannister. Like maybe they're like moving the Lannister bank and they fucking raided that. And they got seriously lucky and fell on some cash. But either way, they're not going back to this lady with the 2 chickens and be like, oh, yep. Hey, I stole that 2
Exactly,
chickens.
because she's not there.
IOU.
First off, she's not there anymore. Even if she lives it, she's not there anymore. She's been to Harrenhal, and by the end of the war, God knows where she'll be. So, like,
Yeah.
that's why it's not the same. Like, it's like, I understand that you have different intentions, but it doesn't make your actions any more worthy or any more virtuous or honorable or whatever.
But
the fuck
yeah,
you
They're
call
not
it, you know what I
killing
mean?
people and they're not raping
Those
the
actions
daughters.
are more. Yes, those actions are.
They
more.
don't really. They're so over like the tyranny of it all too that they just don't give a fuck anymore.
But
right?
you have to admit the Brotherhood without Banners like whole like
They're not
mantra is
great.
kind of weird. Like we're defending the dead king.
What is their code?
Like I mean, at the heart of it, it's
Like
we're defending
Ned
the
sent us
people.
out here. Ned sent us out here to do good.
At the heart of it, it's Ned sent us out here to kill the mountain and defend the people. So it is good, but like it's also like if you think of it, we're defending a dead king. So like what do you have to strive? There's no end game to you. Like when do you stop? When do you stop deciding? When do you stop
Until they
deciding
get a
what's
king
right?
that's yeah.
So it's like
I mean
it's
that's why they have no banner, right? Because they pledge no legiancy to
they decide what's right,
Legiancy?
not anyone else, kind of, which is like which again seems like a good thing because they're doing the right thing for the most part, but it can be just as bad if it falls into the wrong hands, which
Right.
it does when Lady Stoneheart takes over the Brotherhood without Banners and they just start
and
killing
then they just go
everyone.
nuts. Which is weird how she becomes the leader because they pull her out, right? I mean they could.
But if you
Lady
pull
just put her
somebody
right
out of a
back.
river and she's dead, and then she stands up and starts telling you what to do, you're gonna be like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, but she
I
can't
mean,
even
it's
talk,
also
so how does she
weird because we only
communicate?
got like one chapter. Like we just met Stoneheart, right?
I think she's
There's
in 2 or
one
3.
chapter.
There's 2 or 3.
There's one.
I think it's
There's
one,
one
too.
that she's physically there. I think, and I think it's Jamie.
I think there's 2 or 3. No, it's a Brienne one. She's definitely in a Brienne one.
Brienne.
The last Brienne,
right?
there's
They
2.
capture,
2 Brienne
or
ones.
they're like going to like meet someone, right?
2
And-
Brienne ones, I think. Maybe 2 Brienne ones, and then there's an epilogue, maybe with a Frey person where he's supposed to like go and like meet some people, and then he meets Lady Stoneheart for the first time. I think we meet Lady Stoneheart in an epilogue. But yeah, we're rambling. I don't have anything else. Anybody have anything else for this chapter?
No.
Next one, boring Danny one. Shouldn't be much. See you guys there. Hope you enjoyed. Join the Discord.
Sound good, friends.
Join the Discord.
R.I.P.
Talk
John
to
Madden.
us.
Bye bye.
R.I.P. Johnny.
R.I.P. John Madden.
Winter is coming. See you guys.